Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and family beyond the binary, hello and welcome back to GGEU Overwatch Broadcast. My name is Warren Jugglegod Hammond, and I am joined on the mic today by none other than Rudy. How are you today, my friend?
Oh, doing good. Thanks for using my official title, actually. I really
Absolutely.
appreciate it. Yeah, I was born from a long line of Rudies down to, pass the name down. It's a dying art form having the name Rudy, so appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's true, and you carry that weight and responsibility well. May I just say that? We have a fantastic match coming up for you today. It is the grand finals of the expert division, everybody. So this is the top of the top, the cream of the crop. We've got Altera Orion going up against their sister organization, Altera Lunaris.
Yeah, two teams cut from the same cloth, at least in terms of naming. Yeah, we've seen both of these teams coming into this obviously to win it all. First of four series that we're having here today, and I gotta say, I do have an idea of how Altera Orion plays. They have been on broadcast before, so I have had the time to watch a few of their games, and they have a pretty set strategy. They have a pretty set game plan of what they want to play and who exactly they want to have on certain heroes. Lunaris, we don't really know anything about. I haven't seen any of their games. I haven't heard anything about them. So, it's going to be interesting to see how they can go up against this Orion squad that honestly looks pretty nasty, pretty nutty as well, as one of their players, is kind of named after that, takes it in stride.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Both of these organizations, very strong. I've had the pleasure of casting an Altera tournament, an internal tournament rather.
Oh, look at you,
And
insider information over here.
yeah, all of these teams are fantastic. I hope I get the chance to cast for them again. But like you said, let's take a look at these rosters right now. We have a Mythhead Nutty Nansa on DPS for Altera Orion. They are fantastic players. I've seen them both pop off before. Tim plays an Ego. They're going to be going up on the tank with Natsuki and No Trousers. She's going to be on the support. And I've seen several of these players. No Trousers is new to me, though, and I can't wait to see what she's going to bring to the table.
Yeah, and on the side of Lunaris, underdogs just in terms of we don't know what they're going to bring, but they got Ritter and Guts on the DPS line, Strafe Plus and Hades on the tank line, and Scooter and Ollie. I just love how, their DPS and tanks have these, great, manly names like Hades, Guts, Ritter, and then their support line, Scooter, Ollie.
It's
Nice little
great.
contrast there, yeah.
It is. It is. It almost seems like a name. Like, hey, I'm Scooter Ollie. Nice to meet you. So that's interesting right there. But both these teams, we know that they are top notch. They're going to bring their A game today, and I can't wait to see what map we are going to start on as well. And both of these teams have to know each other inside and out, and what they're going to be bringing to the table. First map is going to be Busan, and I think this is a fantastic place to start.
A lot of variation here that you can play on Busan, but the number one thing that we're going to be looking out for, that we can expect to look out for, is going to be those Wrecking Ball compositions. At least on the side of Altera Orion, they seem to be bathed in the blood of the Wrecking Ball composition, and quite honestly, it's a really good comp to just stick on for a majority of the maps in Overwatch. I think that out of all the compositions that you could run, whether it's like Reinhardt Rush or Orisa Bunker kind of compositions, Wrecking Ball, if you have a good team that can play around Wrecking Ball and even like Tracer, Sombra, and Projectile as well, you have a solid composition that can really beat all of them. Really overpowered. That's a very good point. Wrecking Ball has been ready for battle.
And I think it's good. I think it's about time we see some time in the spotlight. And you're absolutely right. Tim plays hovering over the Wrecking Ball pick right now for Altera Orion, which is interesting on Mecha Base because this is typically more of a Brawl-centric map. And we do see Altera Lunaris on that Brawl right now. But with an interesting pick, Ritter is on the Doomfist, and that's going to provide some one-pick potential for that team.
It really is, and it could be very good against this Wrecking Ball style, especially with the added CC that you have against, you know, the Tracer and the ball that are coming towards, you know, your backline and everything like that. The problem is going to be trying to pin those players down. It's really going to be on Guts or Ritter to try to get that, but unfortunately Guts goes down right away.
Yeah, an excellent pile driver there comes out from Tim Plays to take them out of the fight. And with that, Altera, Orion looking a little bit better here, especially after Ollie has been picked out as well. Those big heals from that Baptiste, without those, things are going to be very, very tough for Lunaris. And we do see the point flip over to Orion first.
And you see kind of the difficulties that Ritter is going to have here if Natsuki, who is on that Zenyatta, has the appropriate support from not only No Trousers on the Brig, but also Ego on the Diva. I mean, no amount of Doomfist rollouts are going to be able to get you to that squishy Zenyatta easily. And you see that Ritter actually swaps over to the Tracer.
Yeah, excellent
uphill battle.
Right there. Yeah, exactly. You don't want to be having to fight that. But the uphill battle has started for Lunaris. They're trying to get to this high ground now, pushing out to it. But Scooter's taken out by Nutty Nanza. Tim Plays does get stunned, but they're going to be okay for it. Ego going down very low. They may get D-Mech here in short order, but it doesn't matter because Nutty Nanza is popping off right now. DPS doing a fantastic job. Pulse Bomb was eaten by Strafe Plus, but it's not going to seem to matter in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, Tim goes incredibly low there, but manages to stay alive. That's one of the most important things. I also love the fact that Myth is just providing so much covering fire on the high ground here, and has the attack visor for next round, which is going to be really helpful, especially since Hades is switched off onto this Roadhog, which is going to be kind of difficult to play here on Mecha Base with so much open airspace.
Yeah,
but
that
he has point
is.
control.
Yeah, that's a very, very interesting take right there. It is going to help with the dive, though, coming out from Wrecking Ball and possibly even Nutty Nanza. Attack Visor now committed by Myth to try and clean things up here, but a self-destruct is going to come out from Strafe Plus to keep members of Altera Orion away from the point. Point slowly ticking over in favor of Lunaris, but the capture percentages continue to go up for Orion. Tim Plays tries to come back and contest the point, but is taken out by an excellent play from Ollie there on the Zenyatta. And 99% now on the board for Orion, but it feels like they're slowly losing this fight to Lunaris.
Yeah, eventually they will, especially with this whole hog coming in from Hades is going to help finish off. But you can't be too disappointed if you're Orion 99% on the board. And now you're actually going up against a composition that is pretty similar, actually. All mirror matches across the board except for Hades on that Roadhog. So we got the battle between the main tank that rolls around and the main tank that just kind of stands there and takes a bunch of damage. It's going to be interesting to see, but we will have a Transcendence from Ollie to go into this next fight to help stave off some of the damage coming in.
Yeah, and already Lunaris looking a lot better on this attack right here, or rather defense. Ego and Nutty Nanza out of the fight. Tim Plays forced to back away and try again, and that's going to be Orion backing off.
Yeah, now double support elements on the side of Lunaris. Their Scooter with this rally is going to be doing some massive damage to a team that doesn't have rally on the side of Orion here.
Yeah, and with that rally, Pop Natsuki decides to use the Transcendence as well. Myth is using the Tac Visor to try and get some damage in. Hades is already out of the fight. Guts used their Tac Visor as well, but neither one really getting too terribly much in terms of effect. But the self-destruct is big. It's going to take Scooter out of the fight. No Brigitte for either team right now. That's going to be a little bit worse for Orion because they were getting ready to get that rally. But Tim Plays doing some more work for Orion. They are coming close to retaking this point, and we're already up to 75% for Lunaris. So we're reaching last fight territory for both teams here really quickly.
Oh, Guts and Ollie are just keeping this high ground occupied with the focus fire onto Tim Plays, onto Ego here. They're making it very hard for Orion to push in through here. There's this bomb is going to try to catch some people out. It's not, but Nutty Nanza has the EMP here, looking to use it for whoever comes in his way, but the attack visor might just ruin their day. He has to hide from it. No, actually, Guts is actually caught by the EMP.
Yeah, and with that, the point is going to flip back in favor of Altera Lunaris after it had gone over briefly to Orion. Orion looking a little worse for Rare. Take that back. Both teams down 3 members right now. This is anybody's game. Still, Myth trying to get to point. They use the attack visor, but they're taken out almost immediately by Ritter on that Tracer. And with these kills coming in favor of Lunaris, despite Altera Orion coming up with 99% early on, Lunaris gonna be able to come away with this first sub-map win.
Yeah, Ritters was kind of the unsung hero of that first mecha-based portion of the map. Obviously, you saw him popping off a little bit at the end there, but also once when in flashback, when Altera Orion were, you know, fighting that 99% to 0 fight that they had, No Trousers had actually popped the rally, but it was the pulse bomb from Ritters that canceled it out and made it so that they didn't get that effect, that rally effect from that fight, and made it possible for them to win that team fight actually once they made the switch over to that kind of Roadhog composition. So a lot of credit to Ritter there to go up against a player as nutty as Nutty Nanza. And now we're going to be seeing once again a mirror matchup, but still Altera Lunaris is going to be keeping with the Roadhog. I think it's going to be a lot harder to play on a Shrine because there's just so much open space to deal with. Natsuki's just going to have a field day with these Discord orbs.
That they are. Hades, not only the god of the underworld, but the god of bringing members of Orion to the underworld, or rather back to spawn.
Too, apparently.
Yes, the god of cheesesteaks as well. And both teams starting to engage right now. Tim Plays once again gets the early pick onto Guts, this time on the Soldier. And with that, the point is going to start unlocking. Both teams now vying for control over it, but things looking a little bit better, at least for the moment, for a ride. That is until a big hook comes in from Hades and takes Tim Plays out of the fight. And with that, this point is going to be heavily contested. Picks in for either side as Myth is able to take Ritter out of the fight once again. But overall, things looking a little better for Lunaris, and they come away with this first point capture.
Yeah, Hades having the shield to kind of work around here, the Sigma shield instead of like the Diva Eat, is going to be huge for him. He can push in a lot more aggressively, get these hooks in, and you know, deal those initial final blows that are just going to win them team fights. If they can keep this up, they're looking really good right now. Not to mention that Ollie is very well on his way to the first Transcendence to, you know, counteract whatever damage ultimate that Tim or anybody else on Orion has to throw at them.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And Ollie doesn't need any ultimates, it seems, to help take care of himself as he finds a body shot onto Nutty Nansen. Once again, Lunaris looking really good here. They've got 3 members of Orion. Make that 4 pick. Take that back, basically the entire team, and they're pushing up into spawn. They don't want to let their sister team have any quarter.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, you know, well within their rights. I feel like Orion is a kind of a team that, you know, you gotta push into them. You gotta make them feel uncomfortable, because if you give them any more space than you want from them, they're gonna take advantage of it.
Yeah, that they are. Tim Play's gonna be there to take as much space as they possibly can. We've got Nutty Nansa once again picked out by Guts, and looking at these ult banks as well, Lunaris looking very good. Altera Orion's gonna have several coming online, but they're not here yet.
Yeah, Orion's having trouble even, you know, pushing out of their own half of the map here. Can't even really get to point that well, and this attack visor from Myth is gonna find no one, actually. I don't know if that was a panic ultimate, but, you know, it seemed like
yeah, it certainly did. Maybe a call came in that there were more people in range than was actually the case. Gravitic Flux coming out now from Ego, trying to catch a few members of Lunaris. Hades gonna be stunned, but not before they take Tim Plays out of the fight once again. And with that, overtime starting to tick over. Altera Lunaris looking dominant here on Shrine so far. And with this tack visor and the rally that was taken out early, Altera Lunaris gotta take this first win on Busan.
Yes, sir, with a dominant showing on Shrine. It really was a problem of Altera Orion, just a couple of their players pushing in a bit too deep after, you know, a regroup, after a lost team fight. You know, either it was Nutty Nanza or Tim Plays getting picked, and it was all because of that Roadhog hook and the pressure coming in from Ollie as well that secured those first picks and just basically meant they were staggering that entire time. It allowed Lunaris to build up those ultimates that they just all used at the end right there where it was 99-0, right. And then that's just, you're fighting a losing team fight then. So, I mean, picture perfect play from Lunaris. Orion, gonna need to have you shrug off the nerves a bit. I don't know if it's nerves or you just, you weren't expecting the Roadhog. I certainly wouldn't expect the Roadhog coming out on Shrine, so you can't blame them too much.
Like the, like the Spanish Inquisition, nobody expects the Roadhog. Least of all me. I was shocked by that pick, and more interestingly, interestingly as well, Altera Orion, Lunaris, rather. There's so many Alteras that I've cast for. Altera Lunaris, they came out with a double off-tank look, which is very interesting.
And double off-tank, I mean, are you talking about just like the Roadhog in general?
Yeah, the Roadhog, it was Roadhog and Sigma, and then the Roadhog and Diva on Mechabase. And, I feel like the last time we saw a double off-tank really work well was when we had the Roadhog and Zarya. But we'll be talking more about these interesting picks and what is to come next as we throw it to a short break. Stick around, don't go anywhere. We will be back very soon.
You have your way, and it's making me weaken. You and your status, walking like that. It's really getting too much, but I can't pull back. Though I try to resist, I can't fight this. And no one makes me feel like you do. And no one sets my body on fire. And no one gives me shivers like you. Oh, no one does it better. How I try to sleep, but you're deep in my mind. Got a hold of me. When I'm awake, I'm all blind. You and your magic, like infinite power. God knows I try to resist, but you're pulling me closer. Oh, I gotta stay away, but you won't let me. And no one makes me feel like you do. And no one sets my body on fire. And no one gives me shivers like you. Oh, no one does it
Hello and welcome back, everybody, to the broadcast. If you are just joining us, Altera Orion going up against Altera Lunaris. And Lunaris came up 1-0 after a hard-fought match on Busan.
Yeah, Busan was definitely a kind of a slugfest. It was kind of a mirror matchup for the most part, but the big difference was that Orion was playing the Wrecking Ball, while Lunaris actually brought back the main tank Roadhog that we saw. I believe it was around last year, 2020, around like kind of the time of September, August, where Roadhog was just extremely powerful, kind of bringing back that meta to the forefront, which I appreciate. And they actually managed to make it work. I think Orion was just not expecting, the Roadhog pick, and so they didn't really think about dealing with the extra threat of just rolling through an enemy, and then all of a sudden you get hooked and discorded and bashed, and then you just die.
Yeah, that is a familiar feeling to any Wrecking Ball main, and I know that Tim Plays had some of that happen to him on that last map. But we're going to be moving into a new one, and in fact, we are going to be headed to Junkertown next.
Junkertown, definitely a map that has the potential to devolve into even more of this Wrecking Ball, maybe even Roadhog styles. You could also see a lot of double shield here with the abundance of snipers that is prominent, especially on first point that has so much open space as well. So definitely interested to see if the teams here are going to stick with this with the compositions that they currently are using, or whether they're going to switch. Control tends to be a map type where teams play compositions that they may not necessarily play for the rest of the maps, just given how control works. So we could be seeing some totally different swaps here.
Yeah, it is a very deathmatch-esque kind of game mode, right? And I feel like that does play heavily into a Roadhog pick as well, right? Because as anybody who has played deathmatch knows, Roadhog is a little bit OP there. So not surprising if you think about it in that way that it worked out so well for them. But like you said, these next maps, Escort and Hybrid, are going to be a little more difficult, I think, to try to get that same kind of value out of a Roadhog. So I'm expecting we see a different look coming out from Lunaris, but I've been surprised once today, and certainly could be a second time for that as well.
Yes, for sure. Our producer actually had an extremely, I would say, hot take in between in the break here.
He did.
Can you rate this on a scale of 1 to 10? He said that Altera was going to win.
Yeah, I think that's putting something out there. That is a bold take, sir.
It is an extremely bold take. He said he's willing to bet his entire life value on it, which is insane to me. He's just that confident.
Yeah. I mean, if it were my entire life value, that wouldn't be worth very much. But that is definitely worth something. So, yeah. Excellent take there. He says it's at least $50, and I would say that sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Given, you probably could give your life value a little more than $50, I would say, but
yeah, well, if it's 50 euros, it's more than the US dollar. At least I think it still is. So, yeah, that is more value there. But one of the other stories that I think is interesting to talk about here so far is the DPS duels that we've seen going on so far. Myth, I think, has been running into a little bit more trouble than they expected. We saw them on the Soldier and I believe on the Tracer as well. And the DPS duel between them and the Lunaris side of things has been pretty good.
Yeah, Guts and Ritter have definitely been standing up to sort of the legendary figures of Myth and Nutty Nanza, obviously. I mean, we say legendary. I basically mean whenever I saw that these two were playing on the Orion games, whenever they were on broadcast, it was either one of them popping off, because this Wrecking Ball style, the composition that they play, really does emphasize just cracked DPS play. Like, if you have a cracked DPS player, you can absolutely make a difference, kind of carry your team in these sort of Wrecking Ball compositions that are all about disruption and keeping the Wrecking Ball alive, and it allows for the DPS to then go in and do some crazy damage. And Nutty Nanza, obviously the projectile player, they're really good on like the Pharah and the Echo, and Myth has was always kind of playing the Tracer as well. Obviously, these two are capable of switching in and out as well. And I think it's pretty cool that Guts and Ritter are standing up to them in the way that they are, especially Ritter on that Tracer role where, you know, he's going in, he's getting the backline kills onto No Trousers and Natsuki, which is exactly what you need to do if you're a Tracer.
Yeah, that is exactly right. And, you know, I think it's you know, something else that is worth mentioning is that the Tracer Wrecking Ball combination, right? They need to be synced up. They need to be on the same page just about all the time, because neither of them really can, you know, finish off a target on their own unless they get lucky or unless they find somebody who is isolated. And so it really does take both players to synchronize and to go in at the same time to get those picks.
Yeah, well, we were talking about whether or not we would see the same composition. It looks like Orion wants to stick to the Wrecking Ball. They want to continue to try to make it work. They're just going to put Myth on the Widowmaker to start off with as well. And Lunaris is going to, once again, if they're not going to make any switches here, they're going to come out on the Roadhog as well. Myth is going to have a bit more room to play with here if they're not dealing with something like a Tracer or a Wrecking Ball kind of coming at them at all times. They're going to have a lot of room to kind of set up and get those sightlines off, and might even be pretty good in the Widow duel here as well. He's going up against Guts, who's on the Widow themselves. Ooh, takes a nice little pot shot right there. Doesn't find anything.
No, but there's going to be plenty more headshots coming into day. Nutty Nanza and Timplays looking to try and grief this Roadhog a little bit. They're going to give him some trouble. They have to use take a breather to get some of their health back, but Nutty Nanza is also able to find Guts and bring them down fairly low. Natsuki able to finish the job on Hades, and with that, Altera Orion looking pretty good so far.
Yeah, and Ritter on the Genji here is going to be interesting to see how much value he can get out of that, especially when he has to go up against a Widowmaker. But it looks like Myth is not afraid at all to play nice close up and dirty there. That was an insane shot.
That was, and what was extra cool about it is Guts got the body shot on Myth, but Myth got the headshot. So both of these Widowmakers playing to the top of their ability right now. Altera Lunaris trying to push down this alleyway, maybe give this Widowmaker a little bit more trouble, but they're running into Wrecking Ball over here and the rest of Altera Orion. Ego goes down very low, but they are going to be healed back up, as is Hades, who is now going back towards this main area. Timplays looking for a boop on the side and has found the Zenyatta Ollie kind of all alone. They are going to get a little bit of heals, but they're taking a lot of pressure from Nutty Nanza as well. Gravitic Flux now committed on point. Transcendence there to mitigate some of that effect, and with that, Ritter is taken out of the fight as well by Ollie. Altera Lunaris looking a little bit rough here, trying to push through, and I wonder if maybe they're gonna have to get off this Roadhog pick eventually.
Yeah, I mean, okay, well, the Mines is going to be committed here for Timplays. Oh, it's going to get Strafe Plus so low, but the support is there. Unfortunately, I just think these tanks are having such a tough time pushing in through here. Ego is going to commit the Graviton Flux, Gravitic Flux of their own. And, oh, that take a breather is helping Hades out so much in terms of just surviving in this little room here. It's kind of been a back and forth, but nobody's really died, actually, which is insane to me.
Yeah, and that is only going to favor Altera Orion because they are keeping this cart stalled. Myth does eventually go down, and now with those sightlines opening up, Ritter is free to start hacking and slashing, and they are going to cleave through several members of Altera Orion, and this cart is now going to start making significant progress through first point, likely going to capture.
Nice little camera observing skills there. I love the jiggle effects. Yeah, I mean, that was insane. Lunaris basically commits everything they have into winning that fight, which honestly is the right call. They only had a minute or so left on the time bank as well. Orion can't be too mad about that hold. They got a lot of time off. And then, ooh, this pick onto Ritters, not going to help them push onto the starting of the second point.
No, that is not. Myth going over to the Cassidy as well. Gonna be a good pick here, I think, as we move into kind of this horseshoe-shaped point right here. The long sightlines are gone, and so that flashbang is gonna have a lot more value, especially, I was gonna say, especially with Ritter on that Genji, but they have swapped over to the Hanzo instead.
Yeah, I think it's the correct choice. They didn't really get much value off on that initial push besides when they had the blade available to them. No Trousers was just gonna commit, hard, shut them down every single time they tried to go in. And so, making the appropriate swaps, I like it.
Yeah, exactly. Myth now on the high ground, trying to get a little bit of value, maybe start to build up that ultimate a bit. And speaking of ultimates, not many online for either team right now. Gut's going to be the first to get theirs for Lunaris, but the picks coming in heavily in favor of them one more time. This defense is starting to crumble now a little bit for Orion. Look at how close the card is now to the end of second.
It's a slow and patient game with Lunaris was playing in there, but eventually, I mean, just a single hook is enough to kind of seal the deal there. It's kind of interesting because Orion's sort of the composition that wants to go in and dive in, while Lunaris is kind of waiting. They're baiting them in, which is so weird since they're the ones that are on attack, but it's Orion that ultimately has to be the ones to, stop the push, stop the card in some way.
Yeah, that they do. It is an interesting point that you make there. Gut's going to be removed from the fight early on, right after they use that pulse bomb. Hades has this whole hog ready to go, but no Trousers. She's popped this rally, which is going to make it very, very hard for Lunaris to push into. They use the Gravitic Flux to try and get in a little extra damage, and no Trousers does fall. In fact, both Brigida's out of the fight right after they use their rallies as well. Only support ultimate online now is Ollie's Transcendence, and that's going to be big in case Ego decides to use this Gravitic Flux.
Yeah, Tim and Trousers just having such a difficult time trying to contest the card. It's their job, and Ego as well, but unfortunately just keep getting caught out by, I think, just the patient gameplay coming out from Lunaris. They're doing a lot to support their tanks right now, and the tanks are rewarding them with, just the value that they're getting from their picks, and also the protection from Strafe Plus as well. And yeah, like you said, this Transcendence from Ollie is going to be able to counteract either the Gravitic Flux or the Dragons that could be coming in on the side of Altera Orion. They have a pretty good shot here of closing this attacking half with some amount of time left.
Yeah, but the Dragon Strike that lands first is going to be from Ritter. They are able to get a pick, but Natsuki's going to equalize. And now things are looking a little bit rougher for Lunaris. They still have an equal number of picks. Ego's going down very low. They want to use that Gravitic Flux. They're going to have to do it soon. Otherwise, they're going to need to get healed up. But they're going to push hard onto Ritter, who is removed from the fight. So Altera Orion's defense finally going to start paying dividends here. And there's just a minute left for Lunaris to try and cap.
Yeah, nice job isolating the support line in that little room right there with the Dragon Strike, even though you have the Transcendence available. And another pick by Nutty onto Scooter, living up to his name for sure.
Yeah, that they are. The Gravitic Flux has been committed. The Transcendence is out as well. And now with no ults on the board except for Guts, Tac Visor, things are looking a little bit rough for Altera Orion. Natsuki is going to get this Transcendence as well, but it might not be in time. Tim Plays is going to get stunned. They go down to about half health. They're going to have to back up now from this high ground. Myth comes in with a nice headshot onto Hades, but they're going to be able to heal up in short order. And now Natsuki off the board. That's not good because this Tac Visor is now free to rain down onto Altera Orion. Just 20 seconds left to go. But this is an excellent opportunity for Altera Lunaris to try and push this to completion. Tim Plays has the minefield though, and that's going to make things a little bit slower on point for Lunaris. Once it gets used, and there it goes. The Tac Visor is out, and Guts finding huge picks. That dynamic duo of Wrecking Ball and Tracer is out of the fight. Hook comes onto Natsuki as well, removing them. And with that, the overtime is starting to tick over. Picks coming onto both sides. There's just 3 for each point, but this completion is going to come in for Altera Lunaris at the very end.
Yeah, I gotta give a lot of credit to these Lunaris players. They're playing really smart right now. Pushing Orion off the high ground with that pick onto Natsuki allows for Guts to then go up and just get insane value from that attack visor. Scooter staying alive that entire time while both tanks were down too is commendable, as well as your job as the Brig. You're kind of like the third tank in a sense, just being able to survive for long periods of time with the support from Guts as well. And you finish, well, you don't have that any time on the bank, but finishing is, you know, an accomplishment of its own. And now you have a win condition actually for your defensive round, where you just need to hold them at least off of 3rd points.
Yeah, that's a very good point. They do have that win condition in, and Junkertown is not an easy map to complete. I mean, we saw it took Lunaris their entire time bank and then some in order to get that finished. Wrecking Ball compositions coming out from both sides this time. Hades has opted to go off of the Roadhog on defense.
Yeah, and I kind of see why. On defense, you have you're more, it's more about high ground play when you're on defense, and you can't make much value out of that if you're a Roadhog necessarily. So switching to the Wrecking Ball is just okay. That was almost insane. But yeah, switching to the Wrecking Ball, I think, is a smart move here. It'll be interesting to see how they go up against, you know, the tried and true from Tim Plays, who's actually pretty low right now.
That they are. They're gonna have to back up and get some heals from their team. Myth looking for an angle now to take, but they found a Wrecking Ball in the way, and now they're getting pushed out pretty hard by them. They may have bit off more than they can chew, but Hades is actually forced away by the rest of Orion.
You see kind of the two-pronged approach here coming through, where they're pressuring them from both sides, not letting Guts be set up in a position that he wants to be in, and that is going to be the engagement that's just going to tear through the enemy lines. Timplays goes down, but you're not too worried about that at all.
No, that was a fantastic engagement there from Altera, Ryan. They're going to be able to get this card moving pretty well here right off the bat, and it's going to give them a lead going into 2nd point, unless Altera Lunaris is going to be able to get that contest back in. Hades still very low on their side.
Oh, yeah. Hades is just using all the cheese spots to try to get away, and he actually will.
Yeah, barely able to survive that. Now they go down very low. They found Myth, though. They could have a little bit of trouble here because they were only half health.
Wait, they haven't completed yet.
No, they haven't completed yet. The point is still under contest right now. Hades might eventually be able to get back to their team, but if they can get healed up in the backline, that's going to be a boon for them. Nutty Nanta has this pulse bomb ready to go now that the fight is starting to break out heavily on point. Stick almost makes it. Gravitic Flux now coming in from Ego, going to lift up a few members of Lunaris. Strafe Plus goes down. Early on, Scooter very low at the moment, but crucially, Ollie has this Transcendence ready to go. But I think they're probably going to hold on to it, as this fight is mostly lost at this point, and Orion has capped first.
Nice try from Lunaris to try to recontest that. I honestly thought that they would have captured 1st point by then. I don't know why more of them didn't stick onto the cart, but thankfully Ego was set up on the high ground, was able to get use out of that Gravitic Flux to finish off the round with no support ultimates yet on the side of Lunaris, but they will have them for this next fight as well. However, Orion is going to be working with the exact same ultimates, plus not a Gravitic Flux. Actually, that's a Gravitic Flux on the side of Lunaris here.
Yeah, Lunaris looking a little better in the old make at the moment. Minefield comes out from Hades, takes Ego out. So they're not going to be able to build that Gravitic Flux on the side of Orion, at least for a couple of moments. Gravitic Flux now out from Strafe Plus. 10 plays. Minefield continuing to get value right there as Hades rolls into it. Nutty Nanta looking to maybe commit this pulse bomb as well. It goes right into the shield of Strafe Plus, and they take a headshot from Guts on the way out.
There's so much pressure coming out from Lunaris here. Strafe Plus was just set up so aggressively while the rest of Orion was trying to make a push onto that card, and now they're being driven back because of sort of the double flank angle that they had from both of the tanks and then the DPS as well. Guts, just doing insane work with the Peacekeeper here, and they've got a pretty nice little ultimate bank to work with here.
Yeah, that they do. Altera Horizons, though, looking very sparse at the moment. Just the rally coming in. And that's going to be matched in more on Lunaris' side. So, this might have to be a dry fight for Orion. Pulse Bomb does come in onto No Trousers. They were the only one with a with an ultimate up. So this is absolutely a dry fight now for Orion as they try to build back some of these ults so that they can come back in this fight. Rally committed now from Scooter to try and keep things back on the Orion side as No Trousers has just respawned, and they're doing an excellent job of that at the moment.
Yeah, nice job of pressuring out the rally too, especially since you're not really going to try to go in on a 5v6 disadvantage, and now No Trousers is going to pop the rally of their ultimate. Strafe Plus is just so low right here. Will he be caught out? Yes, he will.
And with that, things are really opening up once more for Orion. This going very heavily in their favor. Ollie going to be eventually removed from the fight, and with that, they're going to be very close to capturing second point, and will be going into third with a nice ultimate bang. Looking very, very healthy.
Yes, indeed, but you still got the Transcendence from Ollie. Going to be able to, you know, keep them alive from a couple of these. They're not going to contest second point. I think that's probably the correct choice here. Nutty just not going to be able to catch out Hades just yet, but now they're going to have to worry about a Wrecking Ball coming from behind them, which is, you know, honestly, just at this point, yeah, you gotta expect it when you're dealing with a Wrecking Ball, the fact that they can just squirm away and get to these hard-to-reach places. I mean, now, look at it, they're contesting points.
Yeah, exactly. Hades doing an excellent job of living in the back line of Altera Orion. They are getting some pressure, but they're not getting pressured out, which I think is the crucial point here, which means they're still getting value. Minefield committed now onto the high ground from Hades. They go down low due to that Dragon Strike that came in from Myth, but they're going to be able to shake most of it off and survive and start to put the pressure back on Ego, who has gotten caught out on this high ground. They're going to have to use the Kinetic Grasp to stay alive and get a few more shields. And look at that! On the back of an excellent Minefield from Tim Plays, they're allowed to push forward. And 3 members of Lunaris are down. 2 minutes left to try and capture this point, and Orion showing no signs of slowing down at the moment.
Yeah, all they had to commit there was the Mines Field as well. It's such a powerful engagement tool to use, and it allows for them to build up their other ultimates as well. Now Graviton, or not, I keep calling it Graviton Surge. It's Gravitic Flux is online for Ego here, and it's going to be able to potentially catch out some people if they can bait out the Transcendence here from Ollie.
Yeah, that's such a good point. They are going to use that Gravitic Flux. Ollie pops the Transcendence just as expected to keep their team alive. Their Gravitic Flux not going to yield too much in terms of damage. Scooter, though, going down very low, but not as low as Natsuki in mid. This push is over now with those picks for Orion.
Guts once again switching over to the Soldier has been a prominent pick in this series and is pretty good, kind of like as a replacement or even a complement to Tracer. You're just able to get up on this high ground much more quickly than other DPS are, and you're able to apply consistent pressure with your primary fire. So really like it, and now they're going to have Attack Visor for this next round as well. Nothing really to defend it against.
Yeah, that's true. Altera Lunaris has been doing a much better job, I think, rotating their ultimates this entire match. We've seen Altera Orion down several times without any going into a fight. They are very close to 3 of them, though, so they will get them in the course of this fight. That is, unless Nutty Nance is picked off. They've only got 2 now, really, that are going to come online. But crucially, they're both support ultimates. 30 seconds left now on the clock, and Altera Orion in just about the exact same spot that Lunaris was. Rally popped early now from Scooter, and with that coming out first, it's going to be No Trousers going down to a Attack Visor from Guts. And with this, Altera Lunaris looking primed to hold. Only 15 seconds left on the clock. Orion's not going to have another good fight here.
Yeah, Hades just keeping his foot placed on the cart, not letting this go anywhere any longer, and No Trousers isn't going to be able to use the rally if nobody touches here. Okay, Minefield is actually committed here. Is it going to be able to do some value? Not sure, but Nutty Nanza goes down.
Yeah, and with Nutty Nanza out of the fight, Tim Plays is going to be alone trying to find value. But look at this, a couple of picks coming in favor of them, but still, Altera Lunaris up 1 right at the moment, and crucially, they have the spawn advantage very heavily in favor of them. Natsuki coming out now on the Lucio to try and get back to point as fast as they can, but there's just not enough time. Altera Lunaris going up 2-0 in this series.
Yeah, off the back of some incredibly slow play, I feel like Orion is the team that wants to make the aggressive pushes, or the more aggressive pushes, I should say. But Lunaris is very content keeping them at bay and just, being patient and, being smart. And, honestly, that's some of the most frustrating Overwatch to deal with, a team that is so patient and just so passive. We've seen it before. Teams just get by playing that kind of style, and I think Lunaris is playing a pretty good way of showing that as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at some stats here. We got some stats up in the house. Zenyatta comparison here between Natsuki and Ollie. Zenyatta is such an integral part to this Wrecking Ball composition, and so seeing how these two players compare to each other is really going to be the difference maker here. And you see Ollie is putting in more work in some of these categories here. Natsuki is a bit more aggressive, is doing more damage and getting more eliminations as well. Also, critical hit accuracy is 14% on the side of Natsuki.
Yeah, I think these stats are very interesting because they show an interesting split. Ollie being a little bit more defensive right now than Natsuki. Natsuki definitely coming out on the more aggressive side, except for the fact of the assists, right? They do have more elims. Their critical hit accuracy has been higher. But I think Ollie just playing more to support their team, right?
Yeah,
rather than going for the hero plays has been the difference.
Yeah, it's those assists that might be the difference maker here, because when you apply Discord to a target, it's not only up to you, but it's up to the rest of your team to then focus fire on said Discord target. And obviously, it's your job as the Zenyatta to place it on the correct target as well. But
right.
The team has to be aware of that, calling out, hey, this guy is discorded, let's focus fire him. Or if your Discord is on a target that you don't feel appropriate, you got to quickly switch over. So, I think Lunaris, we can then surmise that Lunaris is doing a better job of, going onto Discord targets than Orion is. While on the side of Orion, you see Natsuki is definitely... Natsuki's definitely still putting in work, kind of more damage overall, but I think maybe those Discord targets might be one of the key factors in Lunaris' success.
Yeah, because I think one thing you can't say is when you've got the offensive assists, right? That means that multiple people are firing on a target, right? So even though Natsuki may have more damage I think is being done due to the fact that Ollie has gotten these offensive assists, right? So I think that's a that's an important distinction to make as well. But looking forward to the next map, we are going to be headed to the classic, the fan favorite. Everybody knows it. Everybody loves it. We're going to King's Row.
Oh, I thought for sure that's what you were gonna. Yeah. King's Row is cool too.
It's cool too.
Yeah, I guess. This is interesting. This is obviously a pick from Orion now. Are we going to be seeing more Wrecking Balls on this map?
That is a possibility. I wouldn't have said this a year ago, but it is a possibility.
It seems to be, both of these teams' sort of game plan right now. And I've seen it happen in the past. It's not too...
We've seen it in Overwatch League.
Yeah, it happens. King's Row obviously is sort of the, dominant Reinhardt map. It's like kind of a meme at this point. If you don't play Reinhardt in King's Row, you're throwing. But, teams can
what
be
are you
creative.
Even doing? Yeah.
Yeah, what are you even doing with your life? What are you doing?
Exactly.
Go play Call of Duty. What is this? What is this, Valorant? No, this is Overwatch. We got a massive shield guy up in front, and he swing hammer, and then sometimes he shatters.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure we're going to see a shatter or two coming out here, because I would be very surprised if we didn't see Reinhardt, at least on defense. But yeah, I would love to see Wrecking Ball come out here, and that's what we're going to have, where it looks like we might just have that on the offensive side here. Defense definitely got to go Brawl here, and Nutty Nanza on that May could cause a lot of problems for Hades.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, not only for Hades too, but anybody who wants to really get in there like a Tracer as well. Lunaris, they're kind of hovering over some picks. I'm not going to make any judgments yet, but on the side of Orion, it definitely feels like they want to spice things up a little bit. The Wrecking Ball isn't working out for them. All right, let's go to a map where we can force something like Rush instead. While on the side of Lunaris, it looks like they're going to stick with the Wrecking Ball here. Or not. Okay, yeah, they're going to go with Wrecking Ball here. Or not.
Huh?
Okay, no, they're making
They baited
changes.
us.
They're baiting us. They're baiting us real hard here. All right, they're going to go with the Rush of their own. Particularly with Guts on the Ashe here, which is an interesting pickup. Normally this would be where like either a Reaper or a Cassidy comes in, but they're going to go with long range instead of, CC. Which is interesting. I'm not going to make any judgments yet, but I don't like it particularly right now.
There's not going to be as much pressure being put into Tim Play's shield, I don't think, with that Ashe pick. Ego does get D-Max now, so Altera Orion Altera Orion.
Wait, who's on defense
backing
here?
Off. Yeah, things have gotten switched. They've done the silly. They've baited me, and now it's Altera Lunaris on point with a couple of ticks already. Altera Orion forced to back away and rotated maybe a way they didn't want to. Shatter comes in. Oh no, something else did. Sounded like one to me. I misheard that cue. But Altera Orion coming back in this defense. They've got a couple of picks now in their favor. But Lunaris with the blizzard from Ritter is gonna seal the deal. And that's gonna be them capping first point. They've got almost 5 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, so what Orion was trying to do there on defense was they were trying to go aggressive onto the Ashe because they realized she's kind of isolated, so they could easily kill her, which they do, but it allows Lunaris to then rotate onto point, get 2 picks, and now all of a sudden Orion needs to get back onto point, which they struggle to do because there's a Mei wall in the way, and so they have to kind of then commit ultimates and do things that they're not comfortable with. It's a very messy team fight, but some 5-head strategy coming out on both sides here.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. Hades has the shatter, and they laid out 5! 5 of them! Nutty Nanza tries to commit that blizzard, whether they do, but it's not gonna do any good, as the entire team of Orion is wiped off the map.
Oh, and the stagger here onto Ego too is just icing on the cake. No escape here. You are... Oh, what the...
Oh, they got the double remake kill onto Ritter and Scooter. They are eventually going to be killed, but that is definitely going to slow things down for Lunaris. They're going to be going into this fight 1 person down. That is until the fire strike through the Ant Matrix lands onto No Trousers, and she sent back to spawn. What a wild fight we have on our hands right now. I cannot believe what we're seeing. Card's still making progress. It's going to be stopped at the 11th hour with 11 tenths of a meter left to go. Tim lays out a shatter, but it's going to be Hades that hits harder with theirs. And the sound barrier committed from Scooter as well. Gonna allow them to continue to push, but Orion not letting them get anywhere, at least at the moment. Nutty Nanza gonna try and free somebody, but it's gonna be Ritter's Blizzard that comes out to try and seal the deal. But look at this, Altera Orion coming back in the fight. I can't believe what I'm seeing. Ego a hero again with a self-destruct kill as well. Guts is going to be able to D-max them though in short order. Hades throws down the shatter again, stunning Nutty Nanza mid-top this photon barrier as well, and this fight just does not want to stop.
This is chaos. This is devolved into sheer madness at this point. All right, on the side of Orion, Natsuki's Immortality Field definitely did save them from that early point capture, and the blizzard being committed from Ritter was actually not effective at all. But now the blizzard committed from Nutty Nanza might have the opportunity, the potential to finish off this fight. Finally, we finally have an actual reset on our hands. Oh
wow.
Gosh, this last 2 minutes was insane. Like, that's such a stark contrast from, you know, the last two maps where it was like, you know, this slow, patient play coming out from both teams. And then they switch over to Reinhardt, and all of a sudden, all brain cells have been lost here. It has just been actually deathmatch.
Yeah, that was something else. I mean, I would never have expected that remake to get so much value, but it did. I think that remake was actually what started the win for Altera Orion here. That allowed them to come back in the fight with an advantage, which you would not have expected given that stagger. Sound Barrier now committed from No Trousers Guts, trying to get something with this Deadeye, but not going to be able to get through all those shields. But the picks are going to come in because Hades swung that Rocket Hammer just well enough to get a few picks, and Altera Orion going to fold under the pressure that Lunaris is giving them right now.
Hades living up to their name as king of the underworld here. Their hammer really applying pressure, so much pressure to Orion that was set up on the high ground there, and eventually they had to drop down, obviously, to contest the cart, but too much damage had been taken at that point. Ritter here on the Doomfist. Interesting. I don't know how it's going to go up against a Mace and Metra. Both of those are very, you know, stally, kind of slow you down types of heroes with the turret and the icicle as well. But if he can make it work potentially, but this bomb has the potential to just end everything.
That it does, and that it did. Altera Lunaris coming out big with an Earth Shatter self-destruct. Scooter does commit that Sound Barrier to keep their team alive, but I wonder if maybe they wouldn't like to have it back for this next push. They have got just one more fight between them and success right here. They've got both DPS ultimates online, and that could be devastating for Orion.
Ritter being pressured off the high ground here. Nice work from Orion, and then he's going to use the ultimate to escape. Guts goes down.
Ooh, and with Guts out of the fight, that's going to make things a lot harder for Lunaris. They're going to be stalled out here, I think, at this last point because Ritter went in on that Meteor Strike, but wasn't able to get any value. So now they're going to back off and wait for Guts to rejoin.
Yeah, this Blizzard Online is going to be a problem here for Lunaris, who really don't have anything to deal with. Not a beat, not any kind of DPS ultimate as well, but it gets canceled!
What? That was incredible right there. Ollie and Natsuki both popped the amplification matrix, each of them doing significant amounts of work. The freeze does come out onto Ego. They're going to be taken out of the fight right after that. And with this, Lunaris is gonna capture.
Yeah, that whole attacking push was a bit of a blur. I think my mind has like unconsciously erased most of it to try to keep me sane. But what I can remember from that is at that last attacking push right there onto third point, Guts with just the pinpoint accuracy is able to get the D-Mech off onto Ego and is able to finish off those squishy kills after a slightly scuffed engagement from Orion gone wrong. And now, whew, we got a little bit of a break, guys. Okay, players, go back to your spawn points. Think about what you've just done, and then come back to me. And, I expect a 500-word essay on how not to play Overwatch, because that's exactly what you did. Well, on the side of Lunaris here, actually they're going to be sticking with the Doomfist here on defense, which is actually, I thought it was just a panic pick from Ritter. He seems to be pretty, comfortable just going back to the Doomfist as like a comfort pick, probably.
Yeah, the Ritter Doomfist pick going to spell doom for somebody. It's either going to be Lunaris or Orion, as I feel like this is a very boom or bust character. And Lunaris definitely hoping that it's going to be a little bit more boom. Myth on this Widowmaker to try and get an early headshot to come in. Doesn't look like they're going to fight it. Likely going to be swapping over to something like the Symmetra. Going to work once again well to try and slow Ritter down. I like this pick, and I like that point that you brought up earlier.
Yeah, the only problem is that Symmetra is a bit of a squishier target than most other DPS that you would be playing in a rush composition. But, like I said, it's, that's very squishy.
Yep,
Lots of
got
squish.
squished against the wall right there. And with that, Altera Lunaris gonna make short work of this push. First push from Orion. Ego gonna get staggered again, but we've seen how this goes.
Yeah, they're not gonna make the same mistake twice in a row. They've learned that much for sure. And now nothing really on the side of Orion just yet in terms of ultimates. Potentially you can make your way to this window, but Ollie's definitely going to be getting to it first, as well as the shatter from Hades here. And Ritter set up once again in a flank position to just try to get some disruption going, and exactly he does.
Yeah, Tim plays out of the fight immediately. Hades probably wishing he'd held onto that Earth Shatter a little bit longer, because now would have been a prime opportunity to lay it down. But it doesn't seem to matter, because Ritter on the Doomfist is going boom right now.
And he is just feeling it. He's got the spray down. He's got, that's not Tracer stats, I would assume, but he's got, you know, he's setting himself up in these positions where, you know, they don't expect him to come from, which is obviously the most dangerous type of Doomfist, is the one that you only see a second or two before your instant demise.
Yeah, and here comes the engagement now. They're looking to take Natsuki out of the fight, but the Immortality Field is online. Deadeye now committed from Guts to try and zone a couple of people away to make that Immortality Field useless. Ritter comes down out of the Meteor Strike without finding too much value, and now Myth has popped the Photon Barrier. Rocket Punch goes into a pillar, unfortunately, for Ritter. They're going to have to back off and try again in just a second. TP going to be taken down now by Straight Plus on Lunaris' side, so no more flaky, silly stuff coming into the backline, at least for the moment. Self-destruct comes in from Ego. Not going to find anybody at the moment, but the Fire Strike from Hades is big. And with that, Altera Lunaris going to hold on again. And now, just a minute and a half left for Orion to try and make some progress here on first.
Orion are having such a difficult time trying to pin down this Doomfist. Myth makes the swap over to the Cassidy for some amount of, you know, CC, but unfortunately the Shatter is just gonna ruin their attempts. Window committed too, they want to finish this off.
Yeah, that they do. They don't want to give Orion any kind of quarter here. Ego is going to be demeched once again. Myth going down very low.
That's not good.
And with that, Tim Play is going to back their team off. And there's less than a minute now on the clock, and they are stalled here on first.
Ego needs to go back and swap over to, you know, reset his ultimate charge. I don't know. Okay, actually, they're 83%, so they are going to get it back. And actually, Guts goes down here, so they do have the opportunity here. Are they going to be able to capitalize? But Ritter... Oh, the Shatter.
The Shatter, but the sound barrier was there from Scooter to keep their team up, and despite the Shatter landing for Tim Place, once again, Lunaris coming up with the fight win. Now there's less than 30 seconds. Orion is not going to get a full team fight here.
That remake kill from Strafe Plus might have been the beginning of the end here for Orion. Everything has been going downhill for them since that moment. They just got too cocky. Who knew it would have led to such a pivotal moment here? Myth gets a little dink onto Guts. All right, that's an opportunity.
That is a huge opportunity right there. Guts had the Deadeye ready to go, and now with the Blizzard committed on point, one tick has gone over in favor of Orion. Lunar is going to be able to push back in, though, with the self-destruct from Safe Straight Plus. It doesn't land, it doesn't find anything, but the Shatter does get Nutty Nanza. And with Nutty Nanza out of the fight, things are looking a little rough for Orion as Lunaris has come back in. Overtime almost goes over completely, and with it ticking down now, that's going to do it. Altera Lunaris are up 3-0.
Yes, indeed. They are at match set point here. Only one map to go before they crown themselves the winners. This Doomfist pick really messed up Orion on this attacking half. You know, I mentioned earlier that, you know, Doomfist doesn't really work well against, you know, the two heroes that could slow them down. But that's really only, now that I think about it, that's really only once Symmetra is able to set up her turrets. You know, they were on attack for most of that round. They were trying to, you know, get their Reinhardt set up onto the point and then be able to put down the turrets. So now you don't have those turrets. If Ritter is able to just come in, get the punch in, I mean, you saw how the amount of times they were able to just go in and get a pick onto the Symmetra or get a pick onto the Lucio or something like that. And so, you know, they're able to get value before you even have the opportunity to set down your abilities that would then stop them from doing that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And speaking of Doofus, let's take a look at some of the stats from that last match for Ritter because they were just tremendous. 10,000 damage done per 10 minutes. That is 1,000 damage a minute. That is insane numbers right there. 22 elims, 13 final blows, 0 deaths. 0 deaths on Doomfist. That is ridiculous. Ritter got tremendous value out of that hero on that last map. And these stats, I think, tell the entire story right here.
Yeah, I mean, 10,000 damage, that's more than 9,000.
Yeah, exactly. And 9,000, as we all know, is about as high as it goes. Let's be honest now. So Ritter definitely going to have to be stopped. And you know what? I think this has been the story of this match. And that story is the unexpected, right? Lunaris is throwing the unexpected out in Orion's face, and Orion just doesn't know how to handle it. First, it was the Doomfist. First it was the Roadhog. Now it's the Doomfist. They are just coming out here with things that Orion doesn't know how to handle.
And they're being smart about it, too. I think that's probably also the defining thing about this, too. Like, Doomfist has the potential to just throw away your entire, team composition if they get picked off first. Because if you don't get that initial value, then you're basically dead once you've used all your cooldowns.
Yeah, exactly. But tell you what, we're going to take a brief cooldown here for ourselves. We're going to throw it to a short break, and then we will be back for what may well be our final map in the GGEU Expert Grand Finals. Don't go anywhere.
What to do to blow my mind? You're from another planet. I've never felt like this. I don't know how I ever survived without it. I'm starry-eyed. Got me upside down, spinning around you. Wanna taste the clouds, dance with the moon. Take a trip around your body. Boy, I love the way you got me. Starry-eyed, got me starry-eyed. This bed is out of space, just keep painting constellations. You cover me in glitter till I'm shining bright. I never wanna leave the sky. The way you made me feel alive. I was in the dark and baby, you're the light. You're from another planet. I've never felt like this. I don't know how I ever survived without it. I'm starry-eyed. Got me upside down, spinning around you. Wanna taste the clouds, dance with Running through the last of my thoughts, standing on the edge of my time. Everything I know will be gone in a minute, and that's alright. Running through the last of my thoughts, standing on the edge of my time. Everything I know will be gone in a minute, and that's alright. Alright, 'cause I'm free. I'm freer than I've ever been before. Yeah, baby, I'm free. I'm freer than I've ever been before. Alright, 'cause I'm free. I'm freer than I've ever been before. Yeah, baby, I'm free. I'm freer than I've ever been before. Running through the last of my thoughts, standing on the edge of my time. Everything I know will be gone in a minute, and that's alright. Running through the last of my thoughts, standing on the edge of my time. Everything I know will be gone in a minute, and that's alright. Alright, 'cause I'm free. I'm freer than I've ever been before. Yeah, baby, I'm free. I'm freer than I've ever been before. Alright, 'cause I'm free. I'm freer than I've ever been before. Yeah, baby, I'm free. I'm freer than I've ever been before.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the broadcast. If you are just joining us, Altera Lunaris up 3-0 over Altera Orion in the grand finals of GGEU Expert Division. And we had a phenomenal Kings Row map, didn't we just now, Rudy? Very, very exciting.
It was something. I'll give it that much. There may have been one or two moments that Go watch the VOD. You'll find out. I don't think I need to say anything more. We're trying to scrub that out of our consciousness here.
I'm trying to remember it because that was just, I love that.
It was so
chaos.
hype.
I'm
actually.
a Wrecking Ball main, and that was more chaotic than so many of the Wrecking Ball matches I've seen. But we're going to be going next to Volskaya Industries, the frozen tundra of Russia, and this could be the final stop on our GGEU Expert Grand Finals.
Yeah, Lunaris is one map away from taking home the title for Altera, which, you know, Altera is going to be sad too because they're not going to get it. If Orion had won, they would have gotten the title as well. Actually, no, it's a win-win for both of them. It's a win-win for them either way, obviously. But obviously, this Orion team really wants to try to make this reverse sweep happen. And going to Volskaya is interesting because this seems to me, once again, like these teams want to go, or at least Orion probably wants to go back to Wrecking Ball. I think it's still the dominant composition on this map. Potentially, there's some opportunity for maybe some other dive or for some double shield, but it looks like Orion is going to be going with not double shield, but more of a bunker composition with a Torb and an Ashe, looks like it.
Yeah, they're going with an anti-dive composition, really. That Torb is going to give a lot of protection to their team and keep players like Nutty Nansa and Tim Plays from getting as much value as they might otherwise. So I think this is a good look coming out from Orion, but we're going to have to see whether or not Lunaris can use their shenanigans on Wrecking Ball to disrupt everything that's going to happen. Actually, I believe we have a problem with the titles. Altera, Orion, and Lunaris are switched on stream right now. Altera, Lunaris the left side of the screen. Altera, Lunaris on the left side of the screen. They did swap sides here. So it's going to be Orion going off on attack first with Tim Plays on the Wrecking Ball. So, yeah, that is, there we go, got it switched now. So, yeah, this makes a little bit more sense, I think, considering what we've seen from both of these teams. And makes sense since Orion picked the map that they would be attacking first. Nutty Nansa able to get that turret out of the way, so now Tim Plays is going to be able to engage with a lot more impunity, and they already get a pick onto Guts. They're going to open things wide open here with that pick. 1 DPS down means that they're going to be able to go in, and they have a lot less to worry about. Once again, that turret going to be going down, not really staying up for very long at all. Immortality build has to be committed by Ollie as well for Lunaris. And Orion, close to getting a tick on the board. Is anybody even going to touch from Lunaris? Doesn't look like it. They're going to go ahead and give that tick up while they try to regroup and come in with a better defensive push. And Ritter already able to take Nutty Nansa out of the fight. So, despite 1 tick coming on the board, Lunaris looking like the defense could hold for a little bit longer, especially after No Trousers is gone as well.
Myth is doing some damage in the back line here. Oh, the Pulse Bomb is actually going to be saved by the Immortality field as well. Nice job from Ritter to get those opening picks onto the aggressors, keep their defense up and stable. They've kind of trapped in that mega room there, and you saw actually Tim play the coordination between Tim, Nutty Nansa, and Myth, able to get that first pick onto Guts. Guts is actually going to now swap over to the Cassidy, maybe in response to that aggression coming out towards them. They're a bit bulkier, and they have the CC flash ability as well that'll help them out a lot.
That it will. Flashity is, I like to call him now. He needed a new nickname. Gonna make it very, very difficult for Tim Plays and Nutty Nansa to get in here and do work along with that Torbjorn. Now they're doubling down on this anti-dive composition, I feel like. And it's gonna work pretty well. The EMP is online for Nutty Nansa, though, so if this lands, it could be devastating for Lunaris. They're looking for the opportunity. They haven't found exactly the prime target yet. Now, Tuki commits the Transcendence in an interesting way, I feel like. Tim Plays, though, the Minefield already getting value. They've got 1 tick on the board, but Ritter is going to lay down the Molten Core along point, and the picks are coming in heavily now for Lunaris, despite an early one coming out in favor of Orion. And despite these picks as well, and the fact that the spawn advantage is strong for them, it's not really going to play a factor.
I liked what Orion went for there. They used the Transcendence so that Nutty was able to actually go in and get a really good EMP off. Unfortunately, Ritter had already popped their Molten Core much before that, and with the windows also being dedicated as well, they were able to get picks from both their ultimates and also their primary fire. Orion is having a really tough time dealing with this Torbjorn Ritter, and only 40 seconds left. They gotta find something. They make some swaps like Nutty onto the Hanzo as well, but is it gonna be enough? I'm not too sure.
Yeah, neither am I. Especially because the old bank looks so much better right now for Lunaris. They have 2 online, whereas No Trousers is the only one with theirs. But Tim Plays is going to take Guts out of the fight, and with that, Straight Plus is DMAC'd as well, and off the map. Excellent boop there. Coming out from Tim Plays. Ritter is able to get a counter pick on the No Trousers, and that's no good because they had that rally ready to go. But can Orion continue to put pressure on and get the kills? It looks like it will be the case because Scooter is gone. You're not going to have a res online, and with that, Orion gonna take first point.
Yeah, sure. They actually managed to make it work off the back of some hero plays as well. And now Lunaris is going to be up. Okay, Myth. Okay, you can second time's a shot. Close. You know they have that blink ability for a reason. Let's take two, everybody.
And looking at these old banks coming online for Lunaris, they're going to have a lot of defensive ones in play. They've got the Molten Core online, which can really stop a push in its tracks. Tim Plays does have the Minefield, but I feel like the Core is going to get a little bit more value here. Tim looking for a flank, waiting for the prime opportunity to move in when his team is ready. Gonna go for this nice little boop on the high ground here, meets a few members of the other team and drops the Minefield to disrupt that bunker composition. A couple of members are pushed out to the side, but once again, Tim Plays out of the fight. Straight Plus pops the self-destruct. It's gonna clear a couple members off of point, while Nutty Nanta throws the Dragon Strike in, finding Guts. And with the overload now committed by Ritter, No Trousers gonna have a hard time staying alive in that backline. But Myth comes out with a pulse bomb kill onto Ollie, so that is an opportunity for Orion. Can they come back in and get a few more picks to turn this in their favor? They do, and more. Look at that. Both supports out of the lineup for Orion. Lunaris doing an excellent job holding.
Yeah, even though the Mines did its job to try to get all of those players from Lunaris out of that small little cubby right there, it didn't get really any kills, which is really what you would have liked to see, especially coming with the defensive ultimates that Lunaris had. The Molten Core did its job, and now you're working with both a Bongo and a Window here as well. Very powerful ultimates, especially with no defensive ultimates on the side of Orion here. They're going to switch things up, actually. They're going to go with double shield of their own. They're going to try to win the shield battle.
Yeah, that they are, and I feel like this isn't exactly ideal on attack, but they know more than I do, that's for sure.
Well, they only have a minute left, so whatever they're going to do, they got to do it quick.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. But crucially, like you said before, Ollie and Hades have these ultimates, and they can do so much damage. They can be used to stall out tremendously, and that's what we're seeing happen right now. Amplification Matrix committed by Ollie. That's going to cause Orion to slow down tremendously. Ritter able to get a little bit of damage through that Am Matrix before it expires. And now it's going to be Hades' turn to drop the Supercharger when Orion starts to come in, and here we see it once again. Nutty Nanza out of the fight almost immediately, and Orion, with less than 30 seconds left, are looking really rough right now on second point, but crucially, they do have a win condition on the board. Gravitic Flux now used by Ego. They're going to go down very low, but fortunately, that Immortality Field was there to save their lives. Accretion comes in to knock that out, though, and they're forcing Lunaris to back up the point, and now that they have no ultimates online, it's Orion's turn to push with this Ant Matrix.
Nice little waves to the camera from Ollie there. You can see just how confident they are as Tim Plays goes down with the Molten Core. The Discord damage is just too much on the side, and they are not going to be able to complete first point on the side of Orion. Definitely a good scenario for Lunaris here. Now you have a win condition set.
Yeah, that you do, and it is an excellent win condition. You only have to get 1 point, 1 tick on second point. We could, this could be Drawskaya, we never know, but I think that Lunaris has an excellent chance of winning this map and taking home the grand final win for the Altera organization, which I know the Altera organization is going to be disappointed if they don't get the win, but at least Altera will be happy that they're gonna get the win.
Yeah, exactly. Like kind of the. Never mind. Altera Orion. I was going somewhere, and then I'm very hungry right now. Let me just say, I have a lot of food on my mind right now. What I will say is Orion is going to be coming out once again on the tried and true, the composition that, you know, gotten them this far in the upper bracket. By the way, Orion was the upper bracket, kind of coming in from that, so they were, you know, somewhat the favorites coming into this. They had beaten the team that had beaten Altera Lunaris, but Lunaris just looked like a completely different beast today.
Yeah, you know, sometimes going down to that lower bracket and getting tempered in the fire of that is what can really make the difference, right? You get a little bit extra time, and Nutty Nanza slept and taken out of the fight early, and so Orion looking real rough on this defense to start out. That is not the kind of start that you want, because Lunaris is going to be able to push in with impunity, but Hades is out of the fight, so now 1-to-1 pick. The res does come in, though, for Lunaris, and crucially, Natsuki is out of the fight as well. Ritter able to find them in the back line with a flanking Pharah. The boot comes in as well. Now Ego is in a lot of trouble. They're taken out of the fight as well. Lunaris has 2 points online, 2 ticks already, and Orion just going to back off and give it to him and try to mount a 6-minute defense here. They have to hold defense with 0 ticks for 6 minutes.
And Ritter is just so far into their spawn already. Like, this Pharah pick actually is so big brained because it just completely negated both Nutty Nanza's and Myth's value on the Tracer Sombra, and now they have such a perfect opportunity here. Barrage is almost ready. I don't think this Widowmaker is going to be pressured out by Ritter. I don't think it's going to be able to stand up, especially with Guts here on the long-range hit scan.
Yeah, Nutty Nance is out of the fight early once again, and already Lunaris starting to put pressure on point. This could be it. Natsuki's out of the fight as well. They've got the momentum firmly in their favor. Mitch goes down too. The barrage is committed, and that's just gonna about do it. Can anybody from Orion continue to stagger the point? It's just Nutty Nanza left on point, doing as much as they possibly can, but there's 4 or 5 members of Lunaris. They're gonna take it over, and that's gonna do it. Lunaris comes away with the win. The Wrecking Ball breakdance there to seal the deal on point. Congratulations to Altera Lunaris.
Nice moves coming out from Hades. You know what, just for that, you know, we don't have like any MVP voting. I was originally going to give my MVP to Ritter because of just the insane value he put up all game long. I'm going to give it to Hades now because that dance was just the best.
Oh, that was fantastic. You know, for me, I've gotta give mine to Ego because of that double remake kill that turned things around for Orion. I know they weren't on the winning side, but I'm giving the MVP to Ego for that beautiful play. That made my day. That made my day, Ego. So thank you for that. That was just tremendous. But let's talk about Lunaris again. They came out on fire today. A 4-0 sweep of their sister organization, Altera Orion. That was just incredible from Lunaris. And you know, I think the DPS were part of their success. And let's look at them on the attack side of Volskaya Industries. Look at how much damage was done per 10 minutes as Pharah and Ash. Just tremendous. And they barely died. Guts was the only one. They just took 1 death. So I think this, again, just tells such a story about the Lunaris side.
I think, too, you know, Guts and Ritter, they've been playing a lot of different stuff throughout the entirety of this series, you know, whether it's, you know, the Widowmaker, the Tracer, the Sombra, the Torbjorn, the Cassidy, and then at the very end here, we see the Pharah and Ash come out as well. These players are very flexible, and when they're able to come out on these different picks and just surprise their opponents, they can do magic, and that's exactly what they did. They just weren't able to deal with the Pharah on that last attacking push, and the Ash is just, you know, icing on the cake as well. You got to give a shout out to the DPS of Altera Lunaris. You got to give a shout out to their tanks and their supports as well.
Yeah, that you do. The whole team really came together for this win. team effort. You got to be proud of yourselves. And what a way to end this season of GGEU, season 8. That was just tremendous. And I'm very, very touched that I was asked to cast this grand final. So thank you to the whole ELO Hell organization as well. And Rudy, what a Rudy, what a fantastic time I had casting with you today.
Yeah, I think I'm going to add on to that title. It's now going to be Rudy, rockin' everywhere. That is going to be my official title going forth. Go ahead and change it right now down below. It's just going to be that. It's going to be one of those names that is just so extremely long it extends off the screen and into infinity.
I like it.
Piling more and more onto it.
Speaking of what's down below, be sure to follow both of us on Twitter. We post all the time when we are going to cast in. We are both prolific casters. So once again, thank you for tuning in. Thank you so much to production, everybody in there. There's so many people that have helped put this on. So thank you very much. And that's going to do it for us. GG's and see you next time.
Bye.
My mind is a minefield. Watch your step, that's not a threat, no. My heart is a house of cards. They had those shaky hands, they let me fall.